A lot of people are asking me to ask you, Martin. There's Malcolm, there's another one, Terry, asking the same thing. It must be down to motivation. Is it a motivational thing? What is going on with him?
Well, you could argue that that's there, but I feel that he's supremely professional, and I just feel that it is down to service and the way that they are currently playing Spurs. They kind of allow the opposition to have the ball, and it's then on the break. And he hasn't necessarily got that pace into those areas. He's become more of an assist person, and they need Son back in the team quickly. He relies on that pace in and around him. You need to get up higher up the pitch and in that penalty box. He's just simply not getting there, but you need to create opportunities. When you've got somebody gifted, and he is a world-class finisher, you've got to provide that service for him.
Ben Tarbuck is saying, Simon, you're on it this morning. It's quite straightforward. Put Kane in the Chelsea team, you wouldn't be having this discussion. It's all about the quality of the team, not the individual. And that's what you're saying.
That's what I said.
That's what you said. All right, so you're just congratulating yourself for saying that. But you're right, you did say it. How does he change it, Martin? What's Kane's policy against Chelsea then?
Well, as I say, I think it's about getting a result. When you're playing against Chelsea, it's a little bit of a different game. You're playing against Palace, and of course, I understand there was the quarantine issues. Sanchez, 1 or 2 weren't available. Then you've lost Son, and you've lost Bergwijn, injured, playing international football. So they were on the back foot a little bit. But there should still have been enough in that Spurs team to take the game to Palace. Palace were magnificent on the day. The fans played their part.
They were.
Everything went Palace's way on the day.
Yeah.
Till that point, they've just won 9 points out of 3 matches. So you're looking at Spurs thinking it's a decent start to the season. Now they've fallen back into 7th, was where they ended up last year. So now it's about changing gear now, this manager, and this is when he puts them on the board. So it's a chance to strike, but I think he'll do it by going backwards. Nuno was played a back 5 for Wolves for the last 4 or 5 years. I assume he'll go to that system because, as I said, Villa did it to some effect last week. And within that strategy, then he's hoping that Kane can be effective. But it's going to be a case of Chelsea, they'll hog possession, and it'll be really Spurs playing on the counter-attack because Chelsea always dominate possession, the array of talent they've got through their midfield. And can they then deal with Lukaku? Not really spoken about.
Now then, how do you deal with Lukaku, Mark Keown?
Well,
I know you probably don't want to tell the way that you would maybe deal with Lukaku, as you spoke to me this morning in the office, and I found that fascinating. But do you want to go into some of that?
Jim, I think when you're playing against him, every single ball is a contest, and it's like I've got to disrupt him at every junction. So he can't, for instance, set his stall out. I'm going to be shifting that line, so I want to change the picture for him. I don't want him to hold on to me, to feel me. I wouldn't want to get too tight, but I'm going to hit him, come 2 or 3 yards back, and when I hit him, I'm going to hit him with everything. That's why I'm going to play him, but I'm going to be in his ear as well. I've got to tell him he's rubbish. It's all hype. You're playing against me today. You're not going to get that kind of space. So you can't let him build into the game. And then when it comes, you're going to have the game of the season, by the way. Physically, you're going to have to be up for it because he is fantastic in the air. We've seen the goal he scored in midweek. So he's got everything to his game and he's super confident. So you've got to make him feel this is different today. I'm a little bit different to the rest and I'm going to make it tough for you. But you have to admire what he's achieved. He's gone away, he's come back, and he now looks to be the complete player.
But you talk to him. You tell him he's not on it.
I'm reminding him it's not really that good, is he? I've seen him. I think it's hype. I think, to be honest, I don't think he's the best in the world. You touch his paw, I'd be all over him. You've got to try and gain an advantage against your opponent, and that's a game within a game. But you have to set this stall out. But really, it's about the protection you get. So I want protection in front. Don't leave me exposed. I want someone in front because I need to be playing deep on him because otherwise he's going to run me into that channel. So protect yourself, and good centre-halves do that.
Did it always work, that approach? Did you not tell me once that Vialli got the better of you, or decided not to pay any attention?
I tell you, Vialli was incredibly professional. I hit him with everything, and he said he wanted to elbow me, and he had that sort of Zen moment where he would just dust himself down. No, I mustn't react. He kept talking to himself. So players do it all in different ways. But if I can take some of that energy away from him and away from the game, then effectively I'm going to win. But you don't want to, if you rile him too much, it's an interesting one. I think this man needs a challenge. Lukaku needs a challenge, and you've got to keep pushing him, motivating him. He's been talked about by every manager that works with him, talks about him more than any other player because they feel they need to. At the moment, he's back in the right place and he wants to prove he should never have been allowed to leave Chelsea.
You'd still be up for the challenge on Sunday, wouldn't you?
Well, I would be, but my legs just wouldn't come with me, Jim.
On Harry Kane, why is he looking like a shadow of his former self? Is it a hangover from his failed summer departure, or is Nuno's pragmatism to blame? What's it all about? What's the answer to this? Why is he going off the boil? It would seem so spectacularly. Mo's a big Tottenham fan. Mo, good morning.
Good morning, Jim. Good morning,
mate.
Simon and Martin.
Good morning.
Look, Jim, I spoke to you a few weeks ago about Harry Kane and Spurs.
Yes.
And let's say I'm not sure why we keep trying to look for excuses for Harry Kane to explain why he is struggling sometimes with Spurs. Now, Harry Kane was at this time he was perfect for Man City, because what Man City were looking for was the perfect killer, somebody who would be there just to score goals. Now, Spurs is a struggling side. Spurs need 11 fighters like they had in the first game of the season against Man City. Everybody participating. Now, if we're playing Harry Kane as the main centre forward, the target man, and he wants to drop deep and play with other players, then it's not going to work. And he's not athletic. He doesn't run around and help as other centre forwards might do in other teams. And one of the points I raised last time was when you have Heung-min Son, Lucas Moura and Bergwijn up top, they stretch defensive. We can play counter-attacking football.
Yeah.
If you put Kane in that mix, they will run and leave Kane behind. And that's when he drops deep to play them those balls, which he is very good at. But at this time for Spurs, Harry Kane on Sunday, you play Harry Kane, Chelsea are going to demolish us because we know they're going to have the ball most of the time. And they now have Lukaku and other players who would want to play and drop deep and let Lukaku run behind. And our defenders, I'm afraid to say, we haven't got the fastest defenders. So everyone's going to be betting that we're going to lose this game. And we already know that it's going to be very difficult. Is Harry Kane good for Spurs now? I'm not really sure. If we're playing the Leicesters, if we're playing other weaker teams, yes. Against Man City, Liverpool, Man United, no. Harry Kane will not help us. We need 11 fighters.
So you wouldn't be fussed, Mo. You wouldn't be fussed if Kane didn't play Sunday?
I wouldn't be at all. I do not think he's going to bring anything to the party on Sunday. We need fighters on Sunday to fight Chelsea. We don't need players. We're not going to play against Chelsea. If we try and play, they're going to kill us. They're going to demolish us. We need to play like we played against Man City to be able to cope with this Chelsea side.
Mo, thank you very much for the call, my friend. Thank you for that. He wasn't beating about the bush, was he? Adam's a big Tottenham fan. Adam, what's your take on that? Mo's not fussed if Kane turns out or not.
Well, I'm absolutely shocked. I'll be honest with you. It's nice to talk to you guys, by the way. Excellent.
Thank you.
Always. I've got 2 points. My first point is Harry Kane is committed to Spurs. I know he wants to leave. I don't begrudge him wanting to leave. And if he did leave, then Spurs were lost. But I'm a Spurs fan. I support Spurs first, not Harry Kane. I wanted Harry Kane to stay. Daniel Levy wanted Harry Kane to stay. And Daniel Levy waved the money away to make Spurs a better team by keeping him. Now, my point is, Son signing the contract that he signed in the summer, to me, is as important as Harry Kane staying. Son fills in Harry Kane's gap when Harry's injured and steps up and scores the goals. Harry Kane can't do that when Son's not playing.
Yeah.
When Son's on the pitch, Harry Kane needs the service. He showed that last year when he came back to try and get the ball, and everyone was like, oh, he's a new improved player, and he did get the most assists, and he did fantastically. But Harry Kane needs the service. He can't do it all on his own. I don't blame Harry Kane's motivation for the dipping form. I blame him not getting the service. And with the injuries we've got to Bergwijn, Son, we've got Brian Gill, who's not even started yet. He needs that service.
Adam, thanks for the call. Good points in there.
Adam's absolutely right. It's interesting that Son is a player now the fans feel maybe is even more important than Harry Kane.
Yeah. On Lukaku, a lot of people want to talk to you, Martin, about Lukaku. George is a Chelsea fan and he's one of them. George, good morning.
Morning, guys. Great show as always.
Hi, George. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm looking forward to this Sunday. I'm actually going to Tottenham this Sunday. I'm looking forward to visiting the stadium myself.
Good man. Good man.
But yeah, just going on what Martin, I've got a couple of points here, okay? Just going on what Martin Keown said, he said he needs a challenge. Lukaku needs a challenge. I don't really see anybody in that Tottenham back line that's going to challenge Lukaku this Sunday. Not one of them, I think, is strong enough to deal with him. The only players that I think can deal with him is like Van Dijk, John Stones, players like that. You know, they've got the strength, they've got the ability, but Lukaku, he left Chelsea a boy, and he came back a man. He's got everything in his locker, like you said. Right foot, left foot, header. He's intelligent. He's a Drogba and a Costa moulded into one, I believe. He's that talisman up front. He's big, he's bullish. He's everything. He's everything that we've needed for a long time. And you can see it now. The jigsaw is almost complete, you know?
Yeah.
The only thing I hope we hang on to is Rudiger at the back. You know, I'd like to see Lukaku against Rudiger, because I think that would be a good challenge. But, you know, Lukaku's got it all. And I will finish on this, okay? Tongue-in-cheek. I like the way Lukaku used Man United as a stepping stone to get back to Chelsea. Thank you very much.
That
Well
was
done,
very
George.
tongue-in-cheek, wasn't it? But he made his point.
I think maybe he's right. George is saying, you know, he is phenomenal, isn't he? The pace, the power, but you do it collectively. You know, you can do it in a three. You play up against him. It hasn't got to be a 1v1, but each one of that back three has to let him know he's there and he's in a game. And it's not going to be an easy one for him to run into space. And I think Nuno, with his knowledge of that system, he can quickly run back into a back five. Davies can come back into a back three, maybe not ideal, but you've got Sanchez, you've got Dyer. Dyer may even be fit this weekend. So there are players that he can use. It's how quickly they adapt. But Lukaku's tail is up at the moment. You have to find some way you can to stop that and see it as a challenge. See it as you being the one player that can stop him, deny him. You get the headlines now if you stop Lukaku scoring.
Gotta love that, Martin. James loves it as well. I cannot understand why Arsenal haven't got Martin Keown back as their defensive coach. Love listening to his analysis and his approach. You would tell Lukaku, listen, you're not that great. I love that, Martin. Squatted to 12.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.